And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and go into some overview of some of the projects I've worked on this summer, my overall internship experience, and some thank yous and close with questions. So a little bit about me. I'm from Ione, California, which is a small town of about 7,000, located about 2.5 hours northeast of here in the Sierra Nevada foothills. Shown there is Preston Castle, our most famous landmark. We're pretty proud of it since not too many towns have their own castle, and we do. Family is really important to me. I come from a family of 6. I have 2 sisters, one older and one younger, as well as one younger brother. I also really enjoy spending time with friends. I attend University of the Pacific in Stockton, California, where I'm going into my senior year this fall, and I'm concentrating in finance and entrepreneurship with a minor in economics. So I'll go ahead and go in and talk a little bit about the first project that I worked on. This was with accounts payable of unclaimed property audit. So a little bit about what this is. So each week, Stryker issues checks to vendors, and sometimes those checks remain uncashed, which is kind of surprising, but it happens. As well as some items are voided or canceled for whatever reason, whether the payment was issued another way or the transaction has no longer gone through. In the audit process, the auditors select checks or payments based on items that are still outstanding after a given period of time, or that the item has been canceled and they need to prove verification that there's a valid reason for it. So in order to prove the funds are not owed, we have to provide proper documentation based on the auditor's standards that the amount is actually not owed. If we're unable to prove this, the funds have to be turned over to the state with penalties and interest. So penalties vary by state, but can be up to 25%, as well as interest, usually around 12% a year. So my goal in this was to reduce Stryker's overall liability, or the amount that Stryker has to turn over to the state. In initial liability, there's about 150 items I was going through worth over $600,000 in initial liability. Including penalties and interest, the actual liability is well over $1 million. So my process in going through and clearing these items included pulling bank records, researching invoices and payments, pulling stop payments to provide proper verification that the amounts were not paid. For some of the items, it needed external documentation, and for these I created some due diligence letters to send out to vendors. So shown here are a couple of the due diligence letters I created. One was for vendors in which the check we still show as outstanding, so to ask the vendor if they need a reissue payment so they can cash it and we can clear it off our records. And the other for items where the payment was canceled for whatever reason to verify that nothing is owed. So the results of the work on this project, I was able to clear so far around $200,000 in initial liability, which in actual liability is closer to $400,000. And of this amount, the majority was cleared through initial research, while the amount in progress, I recently contacted over 80 vendors and have been receiving responses back, and that's gradually decreasing. Of the amount cleared, about 92%, or around $190,000, was cleared through initial just researching and no payment needed to be reissued. About 8% of it, or $17,000, was cleared through reissuing payments. The other project I'll talk a little bit about is my work with Project Management Office. So a little bit about this. So the purpose of Project Management Office is to track the status of projects and how they're doing. It drives predictability within the business. It better aligns resources with high-level strategy, and it provides visibility to resources allocations to make sure that the most important projects are getting the resources they need to be completed. My role in this is creating reports that communicate key financial metrics in order to accomplish the purposes shown. So one of the projects I worked on was the creation of the forecast profit and loss for the L10K project. So this took an aggregation of inputs from various cross-functional departments. We took volume from demand planning, the demand planning team, pricing information from the marketing team, product costs from advanced operations, and development costs from R&D. Then use this to create the forecast P&L, which is shown here, which shows the financial viability of a project. And it does this by showing some key financial metrics, including the projected 5-year revenue, which is shown at the top in red, And it's also used to calculate the net present value of the project and the payback period of the project, which helps rank projects in order of importance and their financial benefit for Stryker. Another report I worked on is we needed a report to track projects that were launched within the last 36 months and their financial performance. And it also needed to be easily updatable to include recent sales figures. So I created a report that did this, and it was included in the Stryker Total Endoscopy Portfolio Review, and is actually the section with the red square around it at the bottom is the actual report included in it. And it's used by C-level management to assess the effectiveness of projects and how they're doing based on the original projections. The next project I worked on was day in the life of an analyst. So I learned key day-to-day activities of a financial analyst and their role at Stryker. So I created some new reports to send out to regional managers. One was a detailed profit and loss of an expense report. Before this, we were sending out reports at a higher level view, but after getting feedback from some of the regional managers, realized that a more detailed view would help them take better control of their selling region. As well as creating a communication detailed expense report to send out to regional managers, which helps them see which sales reps' expenses are hitting their account and making sure that it's all accurate. I also worked on preparing journal entries, and this month in, I'm working on variance analysis as well as doing month-end closing and closing journal entries throughout the month-end process. So my overall internship experience has been amazing. I've been able to learn from others through a series of one-on-ones and working with others on teams and learn from their skills and their career experience. I've also been able to apply my academic knowledge to the real world, so see real world problems and drive solutions. I've been able to improve my analytical skills, especially through the accounts payable project, really have to have a thorough process going through those items. I've been able to experience the Bay Area and what it has to offer. As you can see in the pictures here, we went to Monterey Bay for kayaking, beach multiple times, we were able to attend a Giants game, and just build strong bonds with other interns as well as the full-time staff I've worked with. So the internship experience I've had goes out to a lot of people, so big thank you to my manager Holly and mentor Michael for being such a great resource and giving me great feedback throughout the internship process. To Lindsay Cooper, our intern coordinator, for putting on such an amazing internship program and for recruiting me. And all the others that I've worked with through all the various teams and through a series of one-on-ones who've always helped me if I had any questions and provided me with great feedback and really made me feel welcome at Stryker. Questions? Yeah, it's very different. You don't realize that, like within finance and accounting, like that, it's a very large umbrella. There's a lot of different teams that work within that. The FP&A, accounts payable, accounts receivable, a lot of different teams that all work together to accomplish the goals of running the finances and accounting for the business. So a lot more complicated than just overall finance. Great question.
You had another internship that started right after this. What's a project that you think you could take on and that you think would add benefit?
Yeah, so great question.
Just from what you've seen, you've been doing the financial analyst. You've been here for the summer. What's something that you've kind of seen that if you had a little bit longer you'd like to improve?
Yeah, so going off with the work I've done with the accounts payable. In that vein, those items are created from vendors not cashing a check. So a way to prevent that is converting vendors that are still paid by check over to ACH. So if I had more time, being able to start contacting vendors and begin that process to help turn more vendors to ACH so you can't